Breaking news at the end of this extraordinary week in the war against terror. American officials confirmed tonight that a drone missile attack came very close to killing a terrorist thought to be the most powerful operative after Osama bin Laden. We'll have more about that later in the broadcast. But first, Martha Raddatz has an exclusive look inside the months of spying that led up to those Navy SEALs storming Osama bin Laden's compound.
Take elements from every spy movie, thriller, and action-adventure you have ever seen, and you have the reality of this operation. The raid itself was beyond daring, but what preceded it was months of painstaking, secretive, and dangerous CIA work. In addition to the surveillance and satellites above, we have now learned there was a secret safe house right in Abbottabad with CIA spies inside. The house was likely far from the bin Laden compound so as not to raise suspicions. Elevation was important as well, given those high walls around the compound and the third floor where bin Laden was living. CIA Director Leon Panetta will not confirm there were spies on the ground, but clearly this information did not come from overhead satellites.
We could see clothes, and we could see some of the members of the family on that third floor.
One-way reflective glass helped hide the spies and their equipment. Portable cameras were likely used as well.
And we have a variety of surveillance equipment that we can hide. That you can do it through a vehicle with tinted windows. You can do it through cameras that you leave behind and you replace every so often. Something you might leave outside disguised as a rock or, just a piece of litter or trash.
We now know that the CIA spies were tracking a taller man in the courtyard who took regular walks. They referred to him as the Pacer, but could never get a clear enough shot to determine if it was indeed bin Laden. Bin Laden himself was smart enough to stay off cell phones, away from the windows, and did not talk in the courtyard, so there was never any positive ID before the raid. But the number of family living up there matched the number in bin Laden's. Pacer was taller, trash was burned, high walls. That was enough circumstantial evidence from the surveillance to make the mission a go. Intelligence analysts are only now scratching the surface of the mountains of evidence seized by Navy SEALs inside bin Laden's compound, but key details have begun to emerge about just how operationally involved in al-Qaeda bin Laden continued to be, and how intent the terror network was on developing new strategies to attack America. Among the targets, big cities like New York, Los Angeles, Chicago, and Washington.
What I see here, at least for now, is that bin Laden, the engineer who wants to look at the structure of possible attack targets, was asking questions and was getting information.
Officials say a handwritten notebook was found at the compound with discussions of a plan to derail American passenger trains, prompting this Homeland Security bulletin. As of February 2010, al-Qaeda was looking into trying to tip a train by tampering with the rails so that the train would fall off the track at either a valley or a bridge. Additional materials found contain information about other infrastructure targets, such as dams and the water supply, as well as information about al-Qaeda safe houses and al-Qaeda leaders. And for the first time today, a look behind the scenes on that tense Sunday for President Obama as the White House released video of the president congratulating his team after bin Laden was killed.
You guys did a great job. They did.
With each new detail about the complexity of the over 10-year-long American-led hunt for bin Laden emerge, a clearer picture has begun to take shape about just how much one man has cost this country, not just in lives, but in money, taking into consideration everything from the economic toll of the September 11th attacks to the heightened security put in place over the last 10 years, to the new programs developed to prevent further attacks, to the two wars being waged in Afghanistan and Iraq, to the actual direct physical hunt for bin Laden. Some are placing the cost anywhere between $250 billion to a staggering $3 trillion. And while many, including the president, have indicated that this does not mean an end to the so-called war on terror, With one of the key players dead, things are bound to change. Today, Secretary of Defense Robert Gates spoke about the death of bin Laden while touring a military base in North Carolina.
In terms of the situation in Afghanistan, I think that there is a possibility that it could be a game changer.
How the game changes, of course, remains to be seen.
Martha Raddatz joins me now from Washington. Martha, breaking news in just the last couple of hours. What's going on?
Well, there was a drone missile strike in Yemen. There hasn't been any kind of missile strike in Yemen in the last year, and this one targeted American-born cleric Anwar al-Awlaki, and apparently it just missed him. He is behind, they believe, the attempted Christmas Day bombing in 2009, inspired others. I would say he is number one on the hit list for America. He is considered the biggest threat to the U.S. homeland. Just missed him. Imagine, Cynthia, what a great twofer that would have been.
Martha, it seems like the U.S. is sort of on a roll these days. What's going on?
Well, I think you will see that the U.S. is on a roll. Obviously, we've got bin Laden dead now, but all of that intelligence they gathered from the bin Laden compound is going to lead them to others. It's going to lead them to other al-Qaeda figures. They've got lots to work with now. I think in the coming weeks, you'll see a lot of drone strikes, a lot of raids wherever they can find people.
As always, Martha Raddatz on top of the news. Thank you, Martha. Have a good weekend.